Hi everyone, I'm Bina Mistry, Product Manager for the Derivative Service Bureau, and today we're going to be talking about non-standard OTC derivative products, more specifically the data quality issues that have been identified through the reporting of UPIs, and why this topic is such an important one. At the Product Committee, we have various groups of representation bringing together stakeholders globally, including market practitioners and authorities, all of whom have been contributing to this discussion and to the resolution of this data quality issue. Joining me today is Grzegorz Skrzypczynski, who is leading the data science team at the European Central Bank and is co-chair to the Committee on Derivative Identifiers and Data Elements, known as the CDIDE. The CDIDE is the subcommittee to the Regulatory Oversight Committee, known as the ROC, who are a global group of financial regulators, and they provide oversight onto the key data financial standards for OTC derivative identifiers, such as the UPI. So welcome, Grzegorz. We're so glad to have you here.
Hi, Bina. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. So to kickstart our conversation today, at the Product Committee, we have been talking about the identification of non-standard products for quite some time, and members have consistently agreed that there is a lack of global applicable guidance that firms can really rely on, and that there is a gap. So from your perspective, I'm really keen to understand what has been driving regulators to look into the use of non-standard products.
I can start by saying that having a category for non-standard products is really important for us because it helps us identify instruments that deviate from standard market practices. So that said, the goal should be to keep the number of these non-standard instruments relatively small. Ideally, most products should fall into the standard category. When regulators like us analyzed the data reported to trade repositories in our jurisdictions, we noticed that there was quite a significant number of transactions that were classified as non-standard. And some of these transactions didn't seem very non-standard to us. Furthermore, we found cases where very similar contracts were being classified as standard by some entities and non-standard by some others. So this sort of inconsistency, this creates challenges for us as users of the data. It makes it hard to properly identify and aggregate products and assess the risks associated with them. So this led us to believe that there is room to improve how the industry understands and defines what is considered a non-standard product.
Looking ahead then, there's some principles that the Product Committee have created. So I would love to know more about why are the principles considered to be practical to users and firms who are wanting to create non-standard products, and why would they be supported by authorities?
So maybe important point to first make is that for us, for authorities, as consumers of the data quality is absolutely critical. Right. So the poor data quality, it creates opacity, it makes it difficult for us to see the big picture. It forces us to spend a lot of time cleaning and correcting the data. So to address those problems, you can use formal mechanisms like validation rules, standards, definitions. Those play a key role in improving the quality of the information that gets reported, but not everything can be addressed through these formal mechanisms. And I would say, especially when we're dealing with such less typical, more exotic instruments that we refer to as non-standard instruments. So this is where guidance documents and best practices come into play. They help establish the shared understanding across industry participants and across the authorities. When producing this kind of guidance, it's helpful to extract general universal principles, the ones that could be applied in a way isn't tied to a specific product or market. So basically to provide a clear reference points and step-by-step workflows that the reporting firms could easily adopt as market practice across different sectors and across different jurisdictions. In my humble opinion, the principles developed by the DSB Product Committee meet exactly this criteria. They give firms a clear and practical path for classifying the products they execute into the standard and non-standard categories.
Great, thank you so much. I mean, it's really interesting to hear about the support on those principles and that they'll offer practical guidance, which is really what we've been looking for and what the industry has been waiting on. Also, you raised an interesting point around jurisdictions. We want the principles to be jurisdictionally neutral, which they offer in their wording, so there shouldn't be any issues at all. But it does raise an important point on responsibility, a firm's responsibility in knowing when looking at these principles, will they follow down the path that the product committee have laid out, which is following all 4 principles. From a regulator's point of view, what should firms be thinking about in order to meet the regulatory expectations then?
Yeah, what I can start with is I have closely followed this work, and I can say that principles that were developed work very well. So the product committee went through a significant amount of various cases, various scenarios, and the global regulators, the members of the CDIDE, also had an opportunity to play a role in this process by contributing data, by highlighting issues, data quality issues that we observed in the data, and providing comments and suggestions in the process. So these principles are built upon a long and comprehensive process. The authorities are increasingly relying on the UPI and associated reference data to monitor markets and identify risks. The ability to accurately identify less standard products is becoming more and more critical, and achieving harmonization in this area is essential. It's reasonable to expect that regulators around the world will continue to place greater emphasis on the accuracy and on consistency of UPI reporting and the proper use of the UPI templates. So by adopting these principles timely and comprehensively, the market participants will have a mechanism to ensure that they meet regulatory expectations when it comes to non-standard product identification. But then taking a step back and from looking at the broader perspective, this isn't just about compliance, it's about making the financial system safer overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those views that you've shared, it really brings the whole topic together. We've looked at how the data quality issue has come about, of course, the product committee's principles and what they've created, and overall the positive impact it's really going to have. And as you said right at the end there, it's about the data integrity, not just compliance of things. Before we wrap up, I'd like to share a few final thoughts of my own. Through this conversation, we've highlighted the importance of looking at data quality specifically for non-standard products and the positive impact of following the principles and how firms can really adopt and hopefully bring a consistent and accurate way of creating and reporting the UPIs. This is just one of the broader data quality topics that the product committee continues to address. Practical data is key to enabling those types of conversations so that we can continue to work on resolutions that are fit for industry and of course can apply globally. So thank you so much, Grzegorz, for being here with us today. Really appreciate your time, and thank you to everyone watching.
Thank you, Bina. It was a pleasure.